Hello, so this is the start of the series of four Photoshop how-tos. So what we're doing here is we're going to be placing in the logo onto a variety of t-shirts. So I've downloaded these t-shirts from Pixabay. The links are in the description below. Now, if you are studying a VCE subject, you should not be using Pixabay photos. You should be creating your own photos. Otherwise, you need to prove that you've received copyright approval from the originator. Okay, you need to put it into your folio too. Please ask your teacher first. Okay, so I'm going to first start off with just a white t-shirt, so I'm going to open this one up. So by the way, in this series I do show t-shirts of different genders, so please be mature about it. Okay, so here I've got this plain t-shirt. There's not much noise in this photo, so these techniques that I'm going to be showing you require a clean photo, as clean as possible for the photo to be working. Alright, so on this image here, I'm going to be placing a logo over here. So what better logo we have, and we can actually go and get a really good logo. And so here we go to File, we go to, where were we before? We go to Place Embedded. And then I'm going to bring in my Australian coat of arms. I'm using this logo because it is a vector graphic. Okay, so it was done in Illustrator, and you can modify, this is what you need to do in terms of proper logo design. You need to do it in Adobe Illustrator. Okay, so in vector graphic. So this here is just a thing not to design the logo. This is simply to place the logo in a believable enough manner to go on a t-shirt. So here what's happened is that Illustrator has brought this in as a smart object, and I can resize it down. So I go over here and resize it. So in this version of Photoshop 2020 version, I can just resize this without having to press shift. In earlier versions of Photoshop, you need to press shift to lock it into aspect ratio. So I'm just going to reduce it down so it is just where the bust is on the left. It's usually on the left bust of the person, so that is then mirrored as on the right hand side over here. So let's double click on that, and you can see here that this here is a smart object. So that allows me to modify the logo as much as I wish in terms of warping it and putting filters on it and things like that without stuffing up the original. So I can go back in history, I can fix it up. So let's zoom in a bit more. And we notice here that there's a bit of a grey area. So it's, there's a little bit of shadow on the t-shirt itself. So what we do here is we simply go to normal and we go over to multiply. Okay, so that multiply allows us to, so we go to the move tool. I'm going to move this into a spot where you can see the texture of there's like grayness coming through. You can see here how there's the blacks are coming through from that part of the t-shirt. So that's how that works. Okay, so other things that you could do to make this more believable is that you notice here that it should be warping. Okay, so this is a little bit more a high level right now. So from now onwards, we're going to be looking at making this a lot more believable. All right, so that's a smart object. We can modify that to our heart's content. We know that we can multiply the blending mode of that layer. If we go over to filter and we go over to liquefy, what this allows us to do is, if we press Z to zoom in, and by the way, my settings here are show backdrop, and the mode here is behind, and the opacity is 100, and use all layers is turned on. So make sure you do that. So I'm going to go through some of these tools here. So this tool here is the warp tool. That's my favorite tool. This one here is the reconstruct tool. This one here is the smooth tool. We have swirl clockwise tool. We have pucker, and we have boat. We have push left. We have freeze mask. We have thaw mask, and we have face tool, and we have hand tool, for example. So hand tool lets you move around. I'm just going to use here the forward warp tool, and I'm going to adjust it so that you see here that the t-shirt's going inwards from the person's bust. So I'm going to push this part of the logo in somewhat so it looks like it's shorter. Okay, and then if I come out here a little bit further, you can actually resize this blending tool so it's a little bit better for you. So here I've warped it a little bit, okay? And you notice here you can still see the original behind it. Once you click on OK, you won't see it. You can turn on and off preview, by the way. Okay, you can also turn on and off background. Okay, all right, so here we've got the other side of the bust, and I'm going to make my size of the item a little bit bigger, the circle a bit bigger. Did I go too big, did I? Here we go. So I'm going to bring this in a little bit like that. So just a little bit makes things a little bit more believable. I'm also going to shift this a little bit there too. Okay, so now if I click on OK, you can see that it's warped in the areas of which I want to do it. Okay, so that is that one there. Please watch the other videos in the playlist for color t-shirts, a more of a sort of textured sort of male one, and then we have a female on a slight angle as well. Okay, that'll be all for this one. Thank you. Bye.